My name is Jesse Hughes. I'm an Immigration Coordinator with International Students and Scholars. The International Students and Scholars Office has quite a few different roles. One is to report information to the U.S. government, in addition to advocating on behalf of our student population. That includes recruiting international students, providing orientation, supporting them while they're here, both academic issues as well as cultural issues or anything that comes up that they would be struggling with. They're always welcome to come through our doors and talk to us. We provide resources to offices on campus, to departments, not only for students, but to help departments bring in scholars as well. We provide we support cultural activities on campus. And for my position, I am an immigration coordinator, which means that in addition to advise students, I also have to report information to the U.S. government and make sure that they are aware that students are following the regulations, that the students themselves know they're following the regulations, and to help them with any questions they have regarding that, while helping them adjust to their time here in the United States. So the visa process is a very complicated and intimidating process for international students and scholars as well. And it involves first applying to the university, submitting documentation. Some documentation they have to submit in addition to what our domestic students have to submit to the university. Upon admission, our office, as well as admissions, will send a packet to those students with additional documentation that they will use to apply for their visa. They have to submit a very detailed application, usually followed by a background check, pay a fee, and then for the visa appointment, they have to go in person and basically have a live interview conducted face-to-face with one of the consular officials. Again, very intimidating. It can make students very nervous when they have to explain what their purpose is coming to the United States. And because the visas that they are coming on are non-immigrant visas, there's an expectation that they should return home after they complete whatever it is they're coming to do in the United States, which means they could be asked additional questions such as, do you have family in the United States? Do you have people here you already know? Do you have ambitions to work? And so students have to walk a very delicate tightrope to explain why they want to come here but not seem like they want to stay here. And oftentimes that can come up as a reason for a visa denial. And then once the visa interview has been concluded, they have to wait for an answer, and sometimes there can be additional administrative processing that can extend the length of that visa review anywhere from a few days to a couple months to almost a year, depending on the student, the country they're from, the situation that's occurring. And then once they get their visa, they still have to arrive in the United States, entering through either a land border or airport, and basically they have to conduct a second interview with Customs and Border Protection. It could be something as simple as showing them the documents and then being allowed in. There could be additional questions. They could be taken to a secondary room for additional questioning. So by the time that they arrive in Laramie, our student population has already had to go through several layers of review, which can mean that by the time they get on campus, they're already tired, exhausted, stressed, and just hoping to get on with their education here at the University of Wyoming. For our international population, those challenges are going to vary, simply because they come from different cultures, backgrounds, regions of the world. Some places, for example, a Canadian student may not have the same certain difficulties as someone from India or China. But what they do all share is some issues that domestic students face when they first arrive on campus. Homesickness, missing their friends, their family, simple things like missing home foods can lend itself to students feeling very sad, distressed once they arrive here. In addition to that, they also have cultural differences that they have to adjust to, language barriers. English is known throughout the world, but not necessarily at the same level as we use it in terms of our vernacular. They have to adjust to classroom culture, how professors interact with their students or don't interact with their students. So there's a lot of differences that everyone's going to have between how they handle their time here in Wyoming. But the important thing to remember is that they're going to have the same core issues. They're not going to be near their family. But whereas we are only a couple hours or a short flight from our family, they are hundreds and thousands of miles away, which makes it much more difficult for them. The important things that you should remember, they are and they are not too different from our domestic population. They're not too different in that they are adults, they're here to study at the university level, and they, for the most part, are prepared to study here. And I think there is sometimes a concern of, well, this person's not from the United States, should I treat them differently? Should I act differently with them? In a lot of instances, you don't really have to. They're fully aware of their situation. They know how to interact. They may ask you more questions. They may not ask you any questions. It comes down to, how is this person behaving in your classroom? Or how is this person behaving when they sit down with an advisor to talk about their situation, their schedule? But there are differences, and in those cases, if you're not sure, you can always ask the student directly. You can contact the International Students and Scholars Office, and we'd be happy to help facilitate any misunderstandings or uncertainties regarding how to interact with a student.
Are there any critical enrollment needs of an international student that an academic advisor should always keep in mind? What are some of the possible outcomes if those enrollment needs are not met?
In order to be issued a visa, international students are aware that they do have to attend classes in person for the majority, and that they do have to meet a certain enrollment requirement. For example, students who are here under the F1 visa who are undergraduate must enroll in at least 12 credits every fall and spring semester. In the summer, they are not required to be enrolled unless it is their first semester attending the university. The rationale is, if they're being issued a visa to enter the United States, they need to be here on campus in person attending classes, primarily at this university. There are some options to take a class or two at another university, but they need to come talk to our office about the regulations regarding that policy. But yes, they do have to be attending mostly on-campus courses. They do have certain credit limits that they have to meet. Graduate students have their own limits as well. The failure for not meeting those requirements can be rather severe. If a student is not maintaining full-time status, it would be up to our office to terminate that student's record with the university on the immigration side. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're no longer a student at the university, but on the immigration end, we would have to do something on our end in the system that would effectively end their ability to study in the United States. We would prefer not to do that. We try to enforce from orientation and the whole time that they're here that if you're going to drop a class, you need to have another class to replace it if it's going to put you below that certain threshold. So there are some serious consequences to not meeting these enrollment requirements. But we go over these requirements at orientation, we post them on our website, we remind students consistently, and we're sharing this information with departments and advisors as well. So there are some limited options for international students to go below full-time status. So anything has to do with maybe they were in an accident, physical health, mental health. There are some options for them. They would have to come and see our office. We would show them the paperwork that they would fill out. Their academic advisor would sign off on some of those issues. Medical or counseling professionals would sign off on others. If it's their final semester, they could go below full-time. So there are some options available to go below full-time, just not too many, which is why it's really important that they come talk to us, and hopefully come talk to us in advance. Honestly, anytime you have a question, a department should come and talk to us. It doesn't matter how small the question is. We just want to make sure that we're doing our best to support our international population on campus. So if it's something about enrollment, we have resources online. But again, you can call us, you can come in, talk to us. We love to see academic department staff and faculty come in, just sit down with us, schedule some time, or just pop in for a quick question. There really isn't a too big or too small of an answer that we can't just sit down and talk to you about, or talk to you over the phone. And it doesn't just have to be about academic issues. It could be, you feel like a student's struggling and maybe you'd like someone to talk to them. A student is looking for something to do on campus. We can connect them with resources, different RSOs. We just want to make sure that our international population is being taken care of the best they can. So really anything, any type of question or concern, come and talk to us. I would say for myself personally, it's helping someone get their visa, let's say for example this year, and then they arrive on campus, they get their bachelor's, a couple years later they get their master's, and just watching them progress from this student who's completely new to campus, new to the United States, making it all the way to getting their 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, and then getting a job opportunity and leaving campus, and just seeing that that timeline unfold before me is such a great feeling, to have this long conversation with the student and watching them basically build their life in front of me. In addition, our students are really great about putting on activities. There's a lot of New Year's celebrations and other cultural activities on campus that I love to attend. I am a foodie, and they are happy to share recipes with me. So there's a lot of benefit to getting to know an international student, and watching them succeed and having them come in, just share themselves with our office. It's just so great to learn about different cultures and ideas and food and customs. It's such a great experience, which is why I love doing this job. Our office is offering some opportunities for cultural programming and training as well. We will be reaching out to departments to let you know about different workshops that we'll be offering in the future. We do offer plenty of workshops for our students, but we also want to expand that to departments as well. We'll post that on our website, as well as reach out to departments in different ways. So you'll be hearing from us soon about new and various ways that we'll be able to help you interact with our student population.